Hello,
Hey.
everybody. Welcome to the I Don't Know podcast. I am your host with the most, Jordan, and I am here today with my co-host and co-worker.
Joshua Eubanks.
And today we got a pretty good episode in store for you today. Today we will be talking about just in terms of musical artists, specifically rappers, what makes an artist quote unquote fake deep and what makes an artist corny. It's a good conversation that we've had actually a couple times outside of this, and I think y'all will genuinely enjoy this. We have a lot to talk about.
Also, peep the new mic.
Peep it.
I'm going to try and get a black windscreen for that one. The green is not.
It's
hitting.
not hitting. Yeah, no. It don't match, man. But no. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening / watching. We appreciate it so much, and let's get into this. But you already know where we start off first today with the album of the week.
Yeah, and for those of you who aren't watching the YouTube, just so you know, like if you were to start watching it, we have a visual here of the album behind us.
Yes, you're missing out on some great set pieces that we add into our amazing, illustrious studio that you should totally come look at.
The greatest production you've ever seen in your entire life.
Right. I'm getting used to looking up there. This is different.
Yeah, but I feel kind of bad because last time that people kept pointing out that I would just stare at the camera and look into their soul.
Yeah, yeah. Especially in the clips where I highlighted.
And I also look mad all the time. I don't know how to fix that.
It's an RBF. You can't help it.
I'm very sorry, but
I promise he's happy. I promise he's happy.
I am very excited to be here.
Yes. All right, guys. So today,
I'm gonna cry.
Today with the album of the week, or this week with the album of the week, we have Logic's No Pressure.
Yes, sir. The sequel to his first album, Under Pressure.
Yes. And what was supposed to be his final studio. Well, I guess it probably still is his final studio album because I'm assuming the one after this was a mixtape, correct?
Yeah.
So his final studio album at the moment, he claimed to be retiring after this, but he's still making music actively.
Well, I mean, what dictates an album as a studio album?
It being made in a studio is what dictates it as being a studio.
Well, then
a studio album.
His last two albums are also studio albums in that aspect.
And it also
they just weren't released under a label. He uses his label now.
And a studio, what makes a studio album? That's kind of it's a weird term because
it is. I don't like it.
Anything that's a official LP that's a part of the main discography of an artist is a studio album. Anything. So, for example, I would say something like this is going to be completely off topic here, but Jack Stauber's Pop Food is a studio album, but he made that in his room. It's still a studio album. It's his first, but it's because it has the length. It's his first official. I think I don't know if that's his first because he also has the other one. I can't remember the name of.
I think the one with Buttercup on it was his first album.
Yeah, that's Food Pop. Yeah, or Pop Food. I can't remember which direction. It's Food Pop or Pop Food.
Damn, I can't.
I don't remember either. And I love Jack Stauber. Huge fan.
I'm thinking of a different album when you say that.
That's what Buttercup is on. Same with OK Cloma. Cloma.
I think people just call it Oklahoma.
But it has a space, so I say Oklahoma.
Okay.
Because that's the name of the song.
Yeah,
so. But anyway, off of Jack Stauber, back to this album. this is going to be another one of those cases where Josh is way more familiar with this album than I am. I'm not too familiar with this. I listened to it when it came out.
Well, if you want an album you're more familiar with, then why don't you bring one of your vinyls?
Okay, well, I'll bring one of my vinyls, but we both have when it comes to our like albums that we know and by heart and listen to faithfully, it seems to be very different. It seems to be. We listen to a lot of the same music and genre and artist, but when it comes to albums, it's just not the same. Because, I mean, I don't think you would know or have as much knowledge on any of the albums I have as much as I do, besides maybe my Panic ones. I think that would be about it, because I have Flower Boy. Do you know a lot about Flower Boy?
The only song that I know is on there is See You Again.
Yeah, and then... the Michael Jackson albums I have Thriller and
I like Michael Jackson. I've never listened to a full album.
And Dangerous I have as well. And then oh man, I got a good one. We gotta get Blurry Face on here.
I have it.
That's perfect. I have that and on vinyl too.
Well, I thought you said that was your wife's.
Well, technically it is, but we're married.
Well,
so
you don't have to bring that one because I have it.
Obviously, I know. It's also hers is disheveled and fucked up really bad because she got it when she was a kid. So yours is in good condition, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's fairly new.
Yeah. So anyway, as I said, this will be more of him. I'm gonna kind of let him take the floor with it, and I'll add my opinions in between. Josh, if you would like to.
Okay. I have one really weird complaint to start off with. Is that Soul Food 2 has 2 parts to it. And at the end, like the second half, but it's really not the half. It's more like a fourth of the song. It starts talking about, I guess it was a cutout from the Ultra 85 album he was going to do. And that's like a continuation of the Incredible True Story, I think. Don't quote me on that, because I haven't listened to that album, and I don't really know what Ultra 85 was supposed to be. But it's a space-themed part of the song where they're talking about this ship called Aquarius 3. But then the next track after that is named Aquarius 3. And it has nothing to do with the ship at all. It sounds more like he swapped those two and got them confused. Like that part of that song was supposed to be where the other half of Soul Food 2 goes.
And see, as you can see, I have no idea about anything he was just talking about. I can't even add. Like I don't know. I have no idea. But
I don't.
I'm gonna keep my opinion short and sweet. I listened to this when it first came out, and I'm gonna be honest. I listened to it with malicious intent because I was hearing that Logic was retiring, and out of pure, I guess, maliciousness, I don't know how else to put it, I was hating. I listened to this album front to back because I was like,
yeah, he's gonna quit the music industry.
Yeah, so I was like, good. Let me listen to this shit. At least this will be the last time I have to listen to Logic. I'm not a fan of him, and I really don't dislike him like I act like I do. It's just funny to act like you don't like Logic. I don't know what it is. It's all over the internet. I think it's hilarious, making fun of him talking about being biracial all the time. It's comedy. It's peak. But I genuinely don't hate the man, and I don't hate his music. And he's a great rapper, like a great storyteller. It's just his music's not for me. It's a little on the nose, no subtlety. And what I'll get into later when we end up going on the main topic of the podcast is it's just a bit corny. It's a bit corny. His good songs are really good. His bad songs are really bad, and all the other ones are forgettable in my opinion. He doesn't have enough presence on his own songs to stand out to me. He's just a guy. Yeah, I guess that's kind of his appeal almost. Is he doesn't have this like glitz and glamour persona, or he doesn't talk about these kind of things, and it's kind of his appeal because he's just like a guy that raps, you know. It's kind of works for him and his aesthetic, and it makes you feel closer to him as a fan. I don't. That's not for me. I'm not. I talk to normal guys every day that can rap. I can rap, and I don't. You know, not as good as Logic. I'm not saying that, but it's just not for me. It's just not my thing. And I personally don't think he's that good in terms of just sonically. And on this album, I remember from when I last listened to it, not counting, I listened to a few songs before we started the podcast, but the last time I played it front to back, I remember, like, in my head, like, this isn't that bad. That's what I thought. I was like, I kind of feel bad for being so mean because this wasn't that bad. That's how I felt when I first listened to this front to back. And then even when I went back and just listened to, like, the 2 or 3 songs I just listened to, neither of them were bad. Still, no subtlety. Not a lot of metaphors. Just straight up telling you how he feels on a mic with rhyming. And while it's not bad, it's not, it doesn't challenge me. It doesn't move me in any way exactly. Nothing wrong with it. My final overall of this album, which is still kind of skewed because I haven't listened to it fully in years, it's probably like a 5 for me.
Just straight average.
That's what I think. And I've also listened to most of Mr. Bobby's discography. I listened to the Bobby Tarantino joints. I listened to what was the one we were talking shit about earlier? What was it called? The bad one. The really bad one.
Oh, well, there's one even worse than that.
Are you talking about Are you talking about Bobby Tarantino 3?
Yes.
Oh my Lord.
What a stain on his career.
Especially on Bobby Tarantino. That's one of the that could have been, honestly, one of the best trilogies in rap. And I'm saying that with full confidence because Bobby Tarantino 1 and 2 were both very good. Very good in terms of all together. The third one, oh my gosh. I feel like that album tied with the album we were talking about earlier killed Logic's career. Like actually murdered it. Like in terms of his mainstream like appeal, it Chance the Rapper'd him like hard. Not saying he fell off or anything like that, but his mainstream appeal was being known as the guy who talks about being biracial all the time.
I don't like that he did it with Bobby Tarantino 3.
Right.
But I do know for a fact he did it on purpose. There's no way he made it bad because he just made it bad. He wanted that shit stain on the legacy of Def Jam because that was his last album for Def Jam. He got out of his deal by putting that out so that he could make his independent music.
Okay, I did not know that. I just learned something. As I said, don't know a lot about Logic. I knew he was on Def Jam and I knew he left Def Jam, but I didn't know it was on bad terms.
Yeah, he talked about it on Bobby Tarantino 2 and this album. Def Jam just was not cutting it for the last few years.
It's not even just him, though. So many people have had bad experiences with Def Jam.
It's because, like I said, what do we need Jay-Z for?
Look, man, I'm telling you, so many people. It's a lot of people who've had bad experiences with Def Jam. And just, I think Logic, I hate that had to happen in his career. I hate that he had to kind of, because it happens. I mean, we see it. Frank Ocean did the same thing when he dropped. I think it was. God, what was that album called? The one before Blonde. He dropped to get out
Orange?
No. In between those two.
See,
I don't listen
know
to a lot. I
anything
don't
about
either.
his catalog.
Yeah. But he dropped an album that was purposely worse, which was still widely acclaimed, but it was worse than his other two projects on purpose to get out of his deal.
Yeah.
And we see it. I've seen it with Lil Uzi Vert when he was getting out of his EXO. I think it was EXO. He was getting out of that deal, and just a whole bunch of things that you see, artists being forced to drop lackluster projects to get out of shitty deals, and that's why I will always support being an independent artist over anything all the time.
Yeah, and that's why I'm glad that one of my favorite artists, Quebec, he refuses to go label side.
Look, I'm telling you, you gotta. I'm telling you,
it's not worth the notoriety or whatever it will get you. It's just not.
No, and especially nowadays with how easy it is to gain notoriety, you don't need a label because you can do everything yourself. There are so many independent people. You can pay people to do music videos, art for you, mix, mastering. You can do all of that yourself, even promotion. If you want a manager, that makes sense.
Yeah, bro.
You don't need a label behind you. Labels are there to take your money.
Get all that shit on Fiverr.
Yes. No,
Yes,
actually, like dead ass. Like, seriously.
Yeah, I wasn't joking when I said it. It just sounded like I was.
Yeah. So, back to the album once again. I want to hear your final thoughts. Just wrap it up. Well, you don't have to. I'm not rushing you or anything, but just, yeah.
I mean, all I really have to say is that I don't know what it is about this album. I'm pretty sure plenty of other people would disagree with me, but this is my favorite in his catalog. It's one of I don't know.
You said
I might be changing my opinion on
you said his whole catalog, like of all his albums.
Yeah,
that's your favorite.
Like the only thing that ties with it is Bobby Tarantino 2.
I think his best album is Under Pressure, personally. I think that's his strongest rap performance, and just in general, where he shines the most. He sounds hungry. That's how I'll put it. On that album, he sounds hungry. Like he's trying to prove himself. And then the rest of them, he kind of, And then I'd put Bobby Tarantino 1 over 2, but that's your opinion. I'm not, And you're way more of a Logic fan than me. So please, guys, listening, take his opinion into account over mine, because I'm not an expert on this topic. Ask me about Panic and Tyler the Creator. Not this. This is not for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I get what you're saying. Like, Under Pressure probably did bring out some things in Logic that you prefer, but just the fact that this album details his whole career. This is it's like his baby, basically. And he even talks about his kid on it, so that's also his baby.
He do talk about his kid. I remember that too. I remember that.
He's basically just saying, he now realizes that all the things that he went through to get at this point in life, fame-wise, it wasn't as worth it as it would have been just making music to make music rather than to get something out of it. Because he was like...
Facts.
He said some bar about it's getting harder to write lines when you're trying to appeal to your audience rather than just saying what you want to say.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's like, I wish we could just take it back to the basement. And that's what his newer albums are kind of doing, because now that he's on his own independent label, he gets just to chill and make beats and songs in his own studio at home.
Yeah, and that's one thing I can say about Logic, despite all of the negative things I say about him. one thing I can respect is the dude respects the art. He definitely respects the art. He is an artist before he is a rapper. He is an artist. He respects the game. You can even tell by some of the features on his newest mixtape. You know, people like RZA and, you know, older cats that are on there that are part of the game that he looks up to, that he puts on his stuff, that respect him because he's a respected person in the space. And so,
I mean, a lot of the features that he does have are people he looked up to while he was listening to music growing up.
right,
So.
like obviously, you know, he has the track with Eminem, you know, which debatably
He doesn't like it.
is one of his worst, but still a lot of people liked it. I didn't. It wasn't for me.
Step up to the mic and it's a homicide, man.
Because you're in my balls, nigga. Oh, that's so.
You know, I just realized that the line that I said wasn't even on that song.
Yeah, I didn't think so because the way you delivered it didn't sound like it was on that song. Because you remember on that song they were, chicka Slim Shady. Yeah,
I mean, it does sound a little bit corny, but I guess I'm just too white to care.
a little bit. I'm kidding. Okay, I'm kidding.
Look
Well,
at him.
that was speaking of corny. Let us segue into the main topic.
The main topic after 20 minutes of talking about nothing.
The main topic of this podcast is going to be about, as we stated, what makes an artist corny or fake deep, and what artists are not that. I'm gonna start with just a baseline opinion, or not opinion, baseline definition in my opinion of what I think it means. So every corny rapper isn't fake deep, but every fake deep rapper is corny. I'm gonna start that off by saying that, because to be fake deep, that's corny as fuck. But being corny isn't being fake deep, because you could. It's not.
It's just a part of it.
Yeah, it's not the subject matter that makes, you know, a song corny. Because I'll put it like this: I'll compare two. You have something like, "Purple Pills" by Eminem, or even I'm trying to think of a better example of his songs about.
I don't even remember that song.
It's a deep cut. I'm not gonna hold you. It's a deeper cut.
Is it even on, like...
It's on, I don't remember what album it's on, but it's on one of his main albums. Not one of the popular ones, but it's on one of his main albums. But I'm trying to think, what's a song by M that's about depression? Like, just give me an example. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Darkness, off of Music to Be Murdered By, the first one.
Let's not go that soon. Let's not go that new into Eminem's discography. I'm thinking
Why?
I'm trying to think of a good one.
I mean, but that is a good song. Just okay, look, Revival and Kamikaze weren't good. I will admit that.
Whoa! Time out. Kamikaze wasn't bad.
Hey,
Kamikaze wasn't bad. Kamikaze was not bad. It was.
Even M recognized that. Still wasn't the greatest.
It was dumb, and I think, and you see, this guy that goes into the topic, him dropping that at his old ass age, being as solidified in the rap game as he is, was corny as fuck. Because you're on this fucking album talking about all these young kids that are in the rap game. You sound bitter. You sound like an old man on the porch shaking his fucking fist at kids skateboarding past your house.
Because he is.
Okay, but no one wants to hear a whole album of that. Nobody. But the songs weren't bad. I can go back and listen to a couple of songs from Kamikaze. But Revival,
I didn't even listen to that album.
Holy shit.
And I won't ever in my life.
I did. And let me tell you why. When that album came out, my teacher in one of my classes played me that one song that was talking about the Las Vegas shooting on there, which I liked that song. That's a good song.
That song's not on the album.
Revival? I'm pretty sure it is.
Darkness is on Music to Be Murdered By.
Darkness?
That's the song.
Oh, you're right, because that was where Godzilla is, and that was the okay.
Yes.
My brain is
I don't
skewed.
wanna be alone in
Yeah.
the darkness. And he's talking
I
about
apologize. I apologize. Let me take back what I said.
Revival is Walk on Water with fucking Beyonce. Or
There was a
whatever.
song. Well, someone played. I think it was a teacher that played a song from that tape, and he was like, "This is gonna be Eminem's best album." And then when it dropped, it was his worst, and I was like, "What the fuck? Why is Ed Sheeran on an Eminem album?"
Well, I mean, okay. First of all, he might have been. It was Rivers. Is that the song you're talking about?
Probably. I don't remember. It was so long ago.
Because Ed Sheeran has been on 2 of his albums by now.
Well, then it was Rivers. Ed Sheeran shouldn't have been on Revival. No one.
And
Revival shouldn't have been made. Revival shouldn't have been released. Not only that, and this is crazy. This is coming from Eminem, who is like, I would say, is not known for having great album covers. Even Revival's album cover sucks dick. It's so
just,
bad.
It's just the corny,
Eminem really
faded out American flag.
Eminem really tapped into his Tom McDonald bag with that one.
Oh my god.
That looks like some shit that Tom McDonald would do, bro. Like, but anyway, you were saying that Revival and Kamikaze were bad, and I'm guessing you were going on to say that Music to Be Murdered By wasn't.
Oh well, no, it was bad, but like not as bad though.
I'm sorry. I thought you were gonna. That caught me so off guard. You
No,
were just
I
like,
like
actually, that fucking blew. But
I liked like half of it. That's about it.
I can say that album
But
is
part
leagues.
part two was his comeback.
I can say that Music to Be Murdered By is leagues better than Revival and Kamikaze. Leagues, both of them, both parts are leagues better than Revival and Kamikaze. Features too.
I mean, yes, Music to Be Murdered By Part 1 is phenomenally better than Revival, but it's still not a good album.
It's not. M has not dropped an album over a 6 out of 10 since
Hey, what are you talking about?
Relapse.
You didn't like Part 2?
I liked it, but
Side B?
it was okay. It's mediocre. I couldn't name a song off of it off the top of my head.
I'm sad
right
now.
Bro, and I like Part 1 more.
How?
The Young M.A. joint. Godzilla.
I don't even like Young Ma that much.
What? What? Oh, man.
Bro,
Oh,
okay,
man.
you got...
I love Young M.A., man.
Dude, it's got so many more corny tracks on it than Part 2 did.
I wouldn't say so. I would have to go re-listen to them both because I really don't
The
remember
Ed
them.
Sheeran joint,
They're unrememberable, bro. My brain, they both exited my memory.
the one about it, Marsh, the one about him being an alien, and then Stepdad, the one about him trying to beat his stepdad up,
God. I forgot.
and then fucking the lynching gold. Like I like,
You're reminding me of that tape.
yeah.
Fuck, I need to go back and listen to those again. But okay, back to
Like don't get me wrong, I'm just a super fanboy of Eminem, so I listen to those songs
and I like
occasionally.
Eminem too, a lot. But I fell off of him after Relapse. Relapse was when that was the last tape that I was like, M is.
You didn't like Recovery though?
Recovery is what I meant. I was saying the
Okay.
wrong album.
But a lot of people shit on Relapse because of all those stupid impressions he did, but I didn't mind it.
Recovery?
I like it.
Recovery, if he would have never released another album after that, he could still be in GOAT conversation for me. If he would have just never made another album ever again. But he fucking soiled his discography with one of the worst 3 album runs I've ever seen in my life. I don't know how you just do bad 3 times.
And you also didn't like Marshall Mathers LP 2?
That's a mixtape. I wasn't counting that.
How is it a mixtape if it's
It
an
is.
LP?
It is though. It's a mixtape. It's
Whatever.
because the first one was a mixtape. I'm assuming that one's also considered a mixtape. Because his first studio album was
The real, it was the Slim Shady LP,
was it?
which, and then Marshall Mathers came after that.
I guess I'm. Oh, God, dude. I'm a little
They're called LPs for
They
a
are.
reason.
They are. They are. You're right. What the fuck is wrong with me?
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with you.
I'm off. I'm
Now,
off today.
the
I'm
Slim
off.
Shady
I'm off.
EP that came out before the album, that would be a mixtape.
The Slim Shady LP2 is actually, I like it too. So
Now,
So
you're
let's-
just saying things that don't exist.
okay. The Marshall Mathers LP2 is what I meant. The Marshall Mathers LP2 up. Even no, but still, I still stand on that because the Marshall Mathers LP2 had some shitty songs on it too. Some
Yeah.
shitters. He started leaning more into that shittiness. But
Yeah,
I love the
like,
song Berserk and
but like,
Rap God though.
It
So,
had Kendrick on it, though.
it did have Kendrick on it. Okay, back to the main point. Before we went off on that side tangent. So, Darkness. We're gonna use that as an example in this. So, Eminem's Darkness, which is a song about a school, not a school shooting, a mass shooting
At a concert.
At a concert. It's about depression. That's like the main general theme. It's a depressing song. It's about depression. Compare that and the attitude towards that and the way the subject matter is handled to 1-800.
But
Compare 'em.
if you did want to use an older example, As the World Turns on the Slim Shady LP, that's pretty depressing too.
Yeah, and then you could even really any fucking most of Eminem's old songs that aren't his like ones where he's screaming, any of them. Just like you could even throw in like Mockingbird is almost there, Haley's song, all the ones where he's talking about his daughter and his relationship with Kim. That fucking song.
No, that's not depressing. That's just angry.
Terrifying is what it is.
Yeah.
I made Matthew listen to it the other day. He didn't know it. I was like, just
What?
he didn't know that song.
How?
I know, right? That song is burnt into my brain.
Bro,
Bleed.
so many more people know about Stan rather than Kim. Although I think Kim is a better song.
Yes, dude. Oh my god, I love that song, dude. It's crazy. But also the hook on there. Oh, the hook on Kim is such a fucking banger. So wrong.
Yes, sir.
Bitch, you did me so wrong. That shit is hard. Okay, but anyway, so we're going to compare that to 1-800. The subject matters are similar. They're almost the same. It's about depression. But the way M goes about it and the way Logic go about it are different. It is the way you go about it. Also, lack of subtlety, and I'm saying it over and over, I'm going to repeat it. Lack of subtlety is the quickest way to become corny to me. Not being able to relay a message through a metaphor or a simile. Having to just straight up just say what you're, not being able to code it in any form of anything. No like cool double entendre, no metaphor. Think of the lyrics of the hook of 1-800. I'm gonna be punching bag 1-800, even though I like that song. It's gonna be my punching bag for right now. Think about it. I don't want to be alive. I just want to die today. I've been on alone. Who can relate? Woo! Like
Okay. You did say something about the woo. Kind of agree with you
that's
there.
so fucking terrible.
I don't know why you would put the woo there.
It's so bad.
But okay, on the topic of, are you saying Logic doesn't have the skills to make it?
No, because that is what makes me mad more than anything. When you can,
But he could though.
Yes, when you know that an artist is good and they can do these crazy things and they don't. They just make shit. That
wasn't the point of that song though.
It wasn't, but still, make good music. Don't purposely make bad music. Just because the purpose of the song was to not be, subtle, doesn't make it not bad. I like the song, but it's a bad song. It's bad. It's like if I was depressed and I heard that, I would kill myself. It would make me kill myself. I would end my life right
Dude,
there.
There's something wrong with you. They literally had to change the number of the suicide hotline because so many people got, like, they finally went and tried to get help because of that song and because it has the number in the name.
But that doesn't mean...
So obviously it did what it was intended to do.
But that doesn't mean it evoked that emotion with... And outside of music, yes, it did its job. But if I'm talking about sonically, the whole point of this song is to... Your hair's all in these fucking things. It's probably my hair too. The whole point of the song is to relay the message of being depressed, being suicidal, and getting over it. It's sonically, and just the song. And the way he went about it with just the least amount of subtlety, just being fucking straight up, just... It's just not good. Because it shows, it makes it seem... Like, okay, I'll put it like this. What is, if you're a rapper, what is a better bar? Saying, I want to take a shotgun and put it in my mouth and blow my brains out, or I'm so insane I want to blow my brain like Cobain. The second one is better. The second one's better, and it's not even close because the first one, there's nothing there. You're not giving me anything to sink my teeth into. You're just telling me flat out. You just, okay, cool. But then when you lace it with just, and then you know who's perfect at this? Kendrick. Because Kendrick has songs about depression, but they're laced within, talking about the hood. And to an average listener, you're just hearing all the stories about the hood and the hardships, and you're thinking it's a brag.
To the average listener.
But when you go in deep, and listen to what he's talking about how the hood broke him down as a man, and how mental health isn't studied enough in those areas, and how black men are killing themselves all the time.
If you're trying to get a message out to more wide variety of people, you don't want to do that because people aren't going to go and take the time to dissect each lyric to get the message out of it.
Right. Yeah. And
it was meant to be a radio song. It was meant to be a pop song. Something that would blow up because it's simple. And why are you dogging on the fact that it wasn't intricate and it wasn't the best rap song of fucking all time in the goddamn universe? It was a pop song meant to spread the awareness for suicide prevention. You don't have to not get help.
Yeah, I agree. I see what you're saying.
If you're gonna say it's a bad song because it wasn't a good rap song,
that's the point. It makes it corny. I'm not talking about the impact means little when I'm talking about the message, the message of the song and how it was relayed to my ears. What it did versus what like, I don't know how to put it because I don't.
But my point is you're facing the song in a direction that it wasn't meant to go in the first place.
Well,
you're judging it as a bad song based on what you want from it, not from what it is.
Well, is music not subjective? Music's subjective, right? And when I'm talking about music, in my,
Okay, so in your opinion, it is corny, but that doesn't make it corny.
No. And I don't expect anyone to have. You don't, Josh. One thing you should know about me is I don't give a fuck what you think of my opinion or what my opinion does to you or how I'm not here to change your mind. This isn't fucking what's his name? Steven Crowder. That's his name, right? That's not what this is. I'm just here explaining how the song made me feel. And as someone who is, struggling with the issues that were spoken on in that song, how it made, and yes, it was a little OD for me to say that I was going to kill myself if I listened to the song because I liked the song, that I was just being facetious. But the point I'm trying to make is you like the song. When I heard, well, I've been saying that. I've been saying that I like the song. I like it. It's an enjoyable pop tune, but it's corny as fuck. It's corny. Same. Let's hop off of Logic. Same with a song by Tom McDonald that I actually enjoy.
Well, that's just because Tom McDonald's entire career is corny.
He's a cornball. But you know the song "Haters" by Tom McDonald.
Semi.
They be hating. I think it's stupid funny. That song.
Oh yeah.
That song is corny. It's corny as fuck. He literally even says it in the song that people
like
call him corny.
Little bit.
But it sounds good.
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
The
a little bit of a good song.
Even though the message, and here's another thing. That song, it does the same thing. There is no subtlety. He spends the entire song just literally spouting off how he is being hated on and in ways he's been hated on.
Oh, we have an intruder alert.
My guy.
Are you gonna go to bed now?
Stay packing or get clapped.
Tell him.
Stay packed or get clapped.
Yeah.
I don't think they heard that.
Yeah. Stay packing or get clapped. That's what he said.
Yeah, my roommate just came through.
Yeah. He probably didn't even pick up on camera. No,
Nah,
not
'cause,
from this
like,
angle.
It's just us. We're the only thing it can see.
It especially didn't pick up audio wise. So, what you gonna do, my boy?
It's my mom's birthday.
Happy birthday, Patrick's mom, dude. Shout out Patrick's mom on the podcast, dude. Never met her, but shout out. You know what I'm saying?
Miss Kenda.
Miss Kenda. Anyway.
We're gonna continue on like he never came in.
Yes. So, but that's the thing. That's the thing. The lack of subtlety in that song, and the way the subject matter was talked about. Because there are songs about people being hated on, and stuff like that are good, but they have they tell it through a different lens, through a musical lens. If I wanted to listen to somebody just tell me about how they get hated on and how it's bad, I'd listen to a podcast or a TED Talk. I'm listening to music. I want more. I want some girth, some metaphors, some similes, anything. Interesting flows, When you don't get that from most corny artists. Now, when you're an artist who makes corny music, that doesn't necessarily mean you're bad. Being corny does not equal bad. Most of the time it does. Almost 8 times out of 10 it does. But Logic's not a bad artist. Logic doesn't make bad music. There's some songs that he's made that are bad, but in general he's good. I enjoy his music. In general he's okay. He's fine. Same with another person that gets brought up in this conversation a lot. NF gets brought up a whole bunch when it comes to this. A whole bunch. And I think you can make an argument for saying he's corny. I think he's less corny than Logic and Tom McDonald, if you want my humble opinion. But I think the way he approaches subject matter, he's a little more subtle. He's a lot more of a storyteller, and his music also just sounds good. Very grandiose, a lot of cool instrumentations, a lot of cool instrumentals.
Story.
Huh?
Literally listen to a song Story.
Can you
What? Don't shoo him away.
I'm shooing him away. Because if you're gonna say something, at least come over here and say it into the mic.
Take a mic out my hand. Say what you got to say.
But if you're gonna say something and not include it in the content, then how are they supposed to know you said it?
Yeah.
If it's related to what we're talking about.
To be fair, that's kind of hypocritical because you were doing the same thing when I was recording. You're all the way over here, and that's why we trashed the episode because you couldn't hear you.
I was saying stuff to y'all, not for the podcast.
I was saying stuff to y'all.
That's different. You
I was talking to Jordan.
you were commenting on what he was saying for the
I
podcast.
told him literally listen to his song story because he mentioned NF was a storyteller.
Anyway, we're gonna move on past that.
On the next episode of the podcast, Patrick and Josh will be having a ladder match.
What does that mean?
So tune in for that. It will be good shit. But NF does fall into that category a lot, and I think he's a little less than other people, but you can still make an argument for it, I think. You like NF. I was figuring you would have more to say about that than I would.
He confused me. So
Confused you? I just
half the stuff you just said was not.
You got to lock in, Josh.
Spaced out.
Josh, you got to lock in.
I can't lock in when he's doing this bull.
Go beat him up. Go get up and beat his ass.
Move to your room. Either move to your room or come over here
Or
and
twerk.
talk your shit.
You can twerk too. Twerking is allowed if you want to do that.
Please no. Actually, don't do that. I know we're not even gonna repeat what that was because it was so out of line.
But what I was just saying was that NF falls into that category a lot, but I don't think he's as corny as Tom McDonald or Logic, personally.
I really.
But the thing is, you don't think either of them are corny,
What do you mean, either of them?
Logic or NF. You think then that's why we have such differing opinions on this, because just based off of the way you react when I mention that, it makes me feel you don't like that word. You think it's kind of stupid.
Because there's a stigma to it.
Definitely.
I think if it's used in a better context, I don't know. The way you look at it makes a little more sense, but anytime someone sticks a corny label on somebody, for the internet, it's automatically a negative thing.
And it is negative though. It definitely is.
You slap that label on them, and then that's all they become.
A quote unquote corny rapper.
You don't you put that label on them for specific things that they do, and not for their general career.
Yes, unless they are generally corny.
Which Tom McDonald,
yes.
He deserves that.
Tom McDonald,
Dax, he deserves.
Thank
that.
you. Oh my God, I was just gonna say Dax. You read my mind.
But it's like Logic and F.
You know who else? You know who
else? They
else?
don't necessarily deserve that because they actually put time and effort into their career. And most of their music is good.
There's this one rapper, and I cannot.
They don't get radio plays for nothing.
Right.
Sorry to interrupt.
You're good. You're good. I've been interrupting you this whole time. So there's this one rapper I can't remember the name of, and he is textbook cornball, and I mean the corniest rapper ever to exist. And I can't remember his name, but he made that song "Death to Mumble Rap."
Oh,
I can't remember his name. Hawes? Is it Hawes? Like Hawes? Is that his name?
What?
The guy's name that made that Death to Mumble Rap song?
Luke Gone.
Luke Gone. That's what it is.
Gawne.
He is the corniest fucking rapper
on God
of all time. He's worse than Tom McDonald. And you want me to tell you what it is? What makes him such a cornball is he is such a Eminem meat rider. Like, I have never I've never seen another human being. Not only is he copying he's copying the worst version of Eminem.
Okay, but what really sucked is Tom made that song on the M beat, dissing M. It was just cornier than anything he's ever done before.
I think the corniest thing he's ever done is make his political rap. But, that song, no, him and, is it him and Hobson or him and Dax that made the one song where they kidnapped a bunch of people?
I have no clue.
Dude,
Did not
it's
listen to that.
no, the song with Tom McDonald and Dax is so bad. It is so
Oh,
fucking
I would imagine.
terrible. It is so garbage. It is so
Tom's
bad.
just over there like Trump power, and then Dax is just gonna be like, I used to scrub toilets.
Yes, I used to be a janitor, man, and a flan man, a good man. And you know what's crazy? And this is harkening back to what I said. There are good Tom McDonald songs, and there are good Dax songs. They exist, and I'm not even talking about haters. Like genuinely good songs. There is one song by Tom McDonald I don't remember the name of that is good, like really good. And same with Dax. Dax has some good fucking songs, and they can both clearly rap. They just choose to purposely make the cornballiest, lamest music of all time on purpose.
And Dax is just a scummy person on top of that.
Yeah. Yep. Scam. Stole verses. Doesn't respect the culture. Now, another thing I did want to dive into is
Canadian. That's a bad thing too.
Yeah,
No,
terrible.
I'm kidding.
Another thing I wanted them.
Actually, my favorite comedy duo of all time is Canadian. So
Them Canadiggers.
what?
I don't know. I was trying to think of a slur
Nah,
for
bro.
Canadian people.
So we already had the.
The Briggers.
Why do we have to bring it back for the Canadians?
Oh my god!
I mean, half
Everybody.
of Canada is British anyway.
Yeah, well, lump them in, boys. You're not American. You're not. Okay, let me chill out. I'm not.
Please.
I'm not a nationalist, guys. I'm not. I promise. So, another thing I wanted to bring up too in this discussion is rappers who get labeled as corny that are not corny at all and have no reason to be called that.
Who would you put in that category?
A main culprit is Token.
Yeah, I think he just gets called corny because he's a white guy.
He's a white guy. And that's another thing. A lot of white rappers will automatically get called corny because they're white. Like that's it. Like literally, they're a white guy who raps and doesn't make emo rap music, and they're automatically slaughtered. Like just because you're Eminem wannabe. Eminem, all you're doing is miracle, lyrical, spiritual. Another person and a little bit less. This is more from this is a smaller minority of people that call this person corny, but Lil Peep gets called corny a lot. And I hear it more from people who saying that people think he's fake deep.
I don't think I've heard people call him corny, but I wouldn't doubt that happens.
Yeah. It's just, as I said, it's a smaller minority of people who call him that. And it just stems from the fact that he's once again a white guy who talks about sad shit.
He makes emo music.
But the thing about him that makes it authentic is one, he overdosed.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. That just it
So
solidifies
obviously
it.
He was living that life.
Yeah, and two, you can tell that the music wasn't the depressing stuff just came with him. It wasn't something he was doing for a camera, for a mic, for an audience. That was just him. That was his character. That was what he did, You can tell that from his music.
Yeah.
And from his presence and just the way he talked and spoke and everything like that, you could tell. And biographies and documentaries about him, all that.
Bro, the fucking HBO Max documentary, pretty fire.
It was. Patrick signing off.
If my phone don't go off, wake me up at 9:30.
All right.
We gotta wake
He
up
going
at
to bed.
9:30, Yeah. So Lil Peep's up there for another rapper that gets labeled as corny. Another person who gets labeled as corny that I think honestly doesn't deserve it, and this is going to be a weird one, but you just got to hear me out, is Hopsin. Why do I not think Hopsin is corny? Because, one, he does not lack subtlety like the other people I mentioned earlier. That man can weave and bob a story through metaphors and hyperboles and similes and just his master class and lyrical ability. But another thing too is he was kind of, a lot of his music could be labeled corny, but it's hard to say it's corny because it almost seems like it's just him. It doesn't seem like it's coming from a place of trying to like almost cater or like be fake. It just seems that's just how Hobson is, you know. There's no fakeness to it. Like a lot of the corny shit he said, I think he believes that shit. Like he fully, you know, when he was dogging pretty much every rapper and sagging his pants and, you know, doing shit like that. That was just Hobson. Like that was just is him. It was just him. And besides one song, which is the one where he was talking about going to an Asian massage parlor and getting a happy ending.
Oh,
that's bad. It's so bad. It's the worst song he's ever made. Besides that, it's just not even like Ill Mind 7. Do you listen to Hobson? Are you a fan?
I don't. No, not because I don't think he's good or anything.
You just never peeped him like that.
Yeah.
Well, Ill Mind 7 was about if God was real. Like that was the whole thing. He like went out in a desert and was like,
what a weird name to call a track about that.
Well, yeah, it was a part of his series called Ill Mind of Hobson. And it was the 7th one. And he was just talking about how all this shitty stuff happens and how could this happen if a God is real. But, you know, it was just, it's a crazy thing. And I could only imagine if someone like Tom McDonald or Logic made something like that, how it would be just so like, just not that what he did. And, you know, for that reason, I think the corny label that he's given a lot of the time just shouldn't apply to him.
Well, for one, Logic has written songs sort of in that subject already.
I'm sure.
Which we were listening to Dark Place earlier. What would you think about that song?
I thought it was fun. That song, one thing I did notice from the 3 songs I just listened to off the album before we started, all of them sounded like freestyles to me. All of them sound like he just got a pen, got paper, wrote, and rapped. There was no like musical part behind it, which is the great thing about rap music, because all you need is lyrics and a beat. And that's not a problem. I was just stating that's what they sounded like to me.
Because there's a song on this album. It's called 5 Hooks, and it's called that because in the entire album there's only 5 hooks on the album.
Yeah, it's cool. It's dope. I fuck with it. It fits. It fits him, you know, especially with the story you told me earlier about him, you know, and he told about, you know, writing being harder for him because he's catering to an audience. When you're writing a hook, it is literally to hook the listener.
But yeah, it's like that's why this album is called No Pressure, is because like he tried to get he got to a point where he just wrote without putting all that like pressure on him.
It's a great story. It is. It's a great story. So.
And like, there's also, you know, there's 3 songs that kind of sort of like touch on the topic that he was talking about. Okay. There's Amen. There's Dark Place that I was just talking about. And then there's also the one near the beginning of the album. I'm blanking on the name right now. But that song is probably the one that like it kind of gets touched on the most. So he's talking about like he used to be agnostic, and or whatever the term is.
It's agnostic
Yeah,
because that's what I am. So
which I don't know. I don't think he's ever confirmed whether he actually is Christian now or not. So I've read it, but I haven't read it from him. But like 3 of these songs kind of imply like, oh, these things happen, and I just kind of wish that like you were there so I could understand that the reason like why they happened to me. Because if you probably do know, because you've listened to you've listened to No Pressure, so he talks about his childhood a lot.
yeah,
Like Logic only grew up with his mom. He grew up with it in Section 8 housing. He later on sold crack. And he sold crack to his own dad. That is
crazy.
That is so sad.
Yeah.
But
I look like I'm crying. I'm actually just tired. So
yeah, I am too. That's why I'm yawning so much.
Yeah.
Which it's only 4:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah. But I woke up at 9 a.m. to play Fortnite. So.
But the song, I'm gonna just get this so I can look at.
Oh man, you remember what happened when I took down the album? No, don't put it back now.
What do you mean? Don't put it back?
Don't put it back now. It's too late. It's too
Hey,
late.
you sat there with it for like 20 minutes.
This nigga dogged me do y'all remember that? Someone needs to roll the clip. Chat, clip that, because this dude he was like, man, you're ruining the aesthetic, man. You're ruining the vibe. Man, fuck the vibe.
I said it.
I don't know the name of this damn song.
Anyway, it's him online. He was talking about, he touches on the reason why he thinks like people put the corny label on him. That's a point that will like relate to the overall topic. Because he was like,
yeah,
saying how if a message in the rap ruins the art, I'm here, because like that's what he does. He puts messages in his songs all the time. So it's like, if you want to say that makes me bad or whatever, then fuck it, I'm gonna be bad because this is what I do.
So I feel like we've explored the topic enough, and I'm kind of ready to say my closing thing, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So
there was a second half because I didn't talk about the God thing.
Oh, oops. Sorry, guys.
Honestly, I went on a tangent just because you said one song.
I kind of forgot what we were even talking about.
You were talking about
Hobson talking about God, yeah.
Yeah, and then I was like, well, Logic did the same thing, because you said if Logic or Tom McDonald did that, it would probably not be the same.
Yeah.
But I recommend Hit My Line. You should listen to that.
I'll check it out. Y'all check it out too. Closing statements. And I'm glad what you brought up last is what made me remember what my closing statement was going to be, which is, to be corny does not mean just having a message in your songs. Obviously. Stop saying that people who put messages behind their music are corny. You're corny for saying that. It's fucking music. Music is meant to tell stories. It is meant to display emotions, show feelings, and how the fuck can you do that if you do not have an overarching moral or message to your song? Not saying every song needs one, not saying every song doesn't need one. I'm saying there's a time and a place for songs like that. You're not playing a Kendrick, well, certain Kendrick songs. You're not playing The Heart Part 5 at the club. But you can play Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe. Neither, just because a song has a message doesn't mean it's corny. But the good thing about Kendrick's music is, even though all of his music has a message, all of it's like, you could still play like "Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe" still has a message, but Kendrick wove it into a good sounding song. That's art.
So, I guess that's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah.
With the whole 1-800 thing.
The lack of subtlety thing is that a good song.
You wanted it to have the message in it, but also be able to listen to it casually and not just because.
Yeah. I feel like if you're willing to sacrifice something to get across the message, you're just not a good enough storyteller. And not saying Logic's not, but if you have to make the song sound, radio pop-y to get across a message, to get it to reach as many people as possible, you just didn't put the effort in to think of a way to make it that, while also keeping the message in there subtly and
Yeah, but I don't know. My only point is that sometimes some things don't need subtlety. There is a time and a place for everything.
Agreed.
Just like you keep saying. Because you don't, bitches ain't twerking to "Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe" because it's got a message in it. Okay.
right.
That's what I'm saying. When you want to get a wider audience to look at something, it has to be more relatable to the audience.
But
Because if you're saying that "Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe" isn't a twerk song, then obviously it catered to the wrong audience. Because
caters to both.
It is.
That was the point I was trying to make, though, is that a good song does a few things or one thing really good. A good song. So let's say Rap God. That's a good idea. That's a good example. Rap God, the rapping and the lyrical ability are really good in that song, which makes it good. Okay. Playboi Carti's music, the instrumentals and the sounds are really good. Those make good songs. What makes a great/perfect song is when everything is good. Everything. Every fucking part is good. Kendrick makes music where every part is good. There's not a bad part. It is, there's the lyrical, there's the metaphors, but there's still the beat that sounds good. And even a casual listener who isn't listening for the lyrics can enjoy the sound. But also on top of that, he's talking about some real shit. Some real shit, but you still bumping it. Humble is another example of that, where that was a huge radio hit, but the song was still talking just like, it was almost a parody of people flexing the fact that they're in the hood. You're in the hood though. Humble yourself, but you're flexing it, like you're flexing that you came from that. It's a parody of that almost. And for a song to be corny, I feel like it has to sacrifice things greatly to be hyper specific and just not a good listening experience. So, but it can be a good listening experience and be corny. But it's also, at the end of the day, it's music. It's subjective. So, whatever you want to think, it's all up to you. It's music.
I just think that a lot of the things that you say about that song being corny, you go back and then contradict yourself by talking about other songs.
What do you mean?
Well, okay, you said songs have to do either a few things or one specific thing really good.
Yeah.
Why do you... Okay, he did one specific thing, but you're still dogging on it.
Not really good. I mean, it was good. That's why I was saying it was good. It sounded good. The message was good, I guess. And the message was he did the message great. That's why I said it was a good song. It just wasn't. That's why corny songs can be good, too. Corny songs aren't always bad.
There's just too much diversity.
It is. That's why it's a good topic. It's broad. It's very broad. You know,
but I don't like that.
Well, you got to think about it like this. Music being as subjective and different as it is, there being so many genres and many
everybody's
people
gonna have a
that listen to it. Not even just
everything.
that. It's music is ebbing and flowing in the way that it's being enjoyed and listened to day by day, you know. And it's finite. Nothing, because there is no general consensus on music. That's why things like AI and things that can quote unquote make the perfect song based off of algorithms and numbers will never be good, because it's not about that. It's about the artistry. It's about who's behind the mic, who's behind the keyboard, who's, you know, voice cracks, vocal inflections. What fucking random noise they threw in. What dude coughed at the beginning of his song to make it add that a little bit of extra realness to it. Was lost. You know that song?
What did you just do?
It's a TikTok song where you do coughs at the beginning. He goes. It's a TikTok song.
No, I don't think so.
Can I play it for the audience?
But I know a lot of people, a lot of rappers like to put a lighter and some coughing at the beginning of their songs. Because we smoking marijuana. Actually, I'm not anymore. I don't. Corny.
Yo, mama. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much all we had to say. I think we had a great discussion. Thank you guys so much for listening / watching / doing your work while you're listening. Yeah, get back to work. You should get your earbuds out your ear. Get back to work.
My closing statements would just be that I think corny is too broad of a term, and I hate it. That's it.
Fair. I agree. It is it's stupid, but I'm gonna still use it though. To this day. Anyway, guys, we love you so much, and thank you guys so much for watching the I Don't Know podcast. I'm your host with the most, Jordan Ford. Here are my co-host and co-worker,
Joshua Eubanks.
And we'll see y'all when we see you.
Yeah, and follow us on our social medias.
Yep.
He be forgetting to plug them. We got a link tree, okay?
We do.
So I don't have to say all the different social media names.
We're going to drop it.
linktr.ee/I don't know pod.
Bruh.
And that's it.
Bro forgot the link tree.
Shut up, bro.
Bro forgot the
because everything we have is different. It's
hard. It's hard
to keep up with them.
Anyways, guys, see you guys in the next one. Deuces.
Peace.